What's up, everyone? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Chris. So, I have a lot of books here. Back in August, I went a little cuckoo and I bought a lot of books. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it before on my channel. Sorry, I was just looking at something. I don't know if I mentioned it before on my channel, but I decided if I read a book or listen to a book and I love it, and I really love it, then I want to own it. And not only that, it's also in my wants. I want to own the entire, well, maybe not the entire collection, Stephen King collection. So, as you know, for the past, I guess they started about, I don't know, was it late last year, toward the end of last year, like November, about a year now. I said I'm going to read one Stephen King book a month until I read all his books, not including short stories, his full length books. I want to do that first and then go to, because he writes a lot of short stories. He also has a lot of books that are collection of short stories, which I do have one that is on that I bought through Audible, and I haven't finished it. Um, that's So You Like It Darker. I bought that. Gosh, I bought that when it came out. So that was a while ago. Anyway, so that's what this haul's about. My purchases of books that I have read and loved and want them in my hands. Um, as well as, like I said, I'm working on building all the works of Stephen King. I want to own all of them, um, as well as read them all. Anyway, I'm just looking at all these books. It's crazy. Anyway, let's stop here. And so grab yourself something to drink, sit back, relax a little bit. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the books. I've talked about most of them because most of these books I've read. There are a few here that I have not read, namely Stephen King. I bought them because some of them I was able to get on sale and some of them were within a bundle, but it doesn't matter because they're on my list to be read, and maybe I will read the physical copy rather than listen to it. Who knows? Um, Anyway, grab yourself something to drink, maybe a snack, and let's go ahead and talk about some books. All right, first up, from one of my favorite authors, and that is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Thoroughly enjoyed this book. This book is about a family. They move to a remote area in Alaska, and they're living like off the grid. And there's a young girl involved in this story. The father is a little bit cuckoo. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think about the book without reading the synopsis on it. But what I enjoyed about this book was it's very, Kristen incorporates Alaska into the book like another, like a whole other character of the book. There's another book that I read that does that too. And you really feel like you're there, just engulfed in this beauty, in this harsh environment, and just how treacherous it could be to live off the grid in Alaska. So in this book, it's Alaska 1974. Ernst Albright has returned from Vietnam, a fragile and erratic man, and when he loses another job, he makes the impulsive decision to move his family to a remote corner of America's last frontier. His wife, Cora, will do anything and go anywhere for the man she loves, even if it means following him into the unknown. 13-year-old Lenny is coming of age in a tumultuous time, but she dares to hope that Alaska will lead to a better future for her family and a place to belong. The Albrights find a fiercely independent community of strong men and even stronger women who welcome them despite their lack of preparation. But as winter sets in and darkness descends, Ernst's fragile mental state deteriorates. As Lenny grows up in the shadow of her parents' increasingly volatile marriage, she meets Matthew, a thoughtful, kind, brave, makes her believe in the possibility of a better life. So there is a bit of a love story here, but really it's about coming of age for Lenny and just living in this harsh environment. And it's a beautifully written book. I enjoyed this one thoroughly and wanted to make sure I had it in my hands. So that is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. Also from Kristin Hannah, we have The Four Winds. Now, I'm not sure. Some of these books were purchased from the book outlet, and some of them were from Amazon. These books here, this one and The Great Alone, they were only $5.99. So I thought, yeah, I'm picking it up. And come to find out, I believe these covers are the UK cover, because I noticed that on the back of the book, it's got UK pricing of $9.99 on it. So I'm thinking that's what this is. But, so I may have bought this through the book outlet. I don't remember. And like I said, they were all coming at different times, so I was constantly waiting. So when I finally received the last book that I had ordered, this one was from Amazon, or not Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I received it on just a couple days ago. I thought, okay, I got all the books. I'm going to do my big book haul. All right, Four Winds. Beautiful book, very historical. Kristin Hannah puts a lot of historical fiction in her book. Now, this happens to be the dust during the time of the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma. And what I loved about this book and found fascinating was my knowledge of that time, like my history, like what I learned in school. I didn't realize what these people went through. And it was appalling. It was shocking. I was just like, oh my God. Like, this is like, the characters are fictional, but the things that happened in that time were real, and they took place in this country. And it was crazy. So real quickly, it's 1934. Elsa Martinelli has finally found the life she had yearned for, a family, a home, and a livelihood on a farm on the Great Plains. But when drought threatens all that she has in her community hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered into the winds. Fearful of the future, Elsa is forced to make the hardest decision of her life. Fight for the land she loves or take her beloved children west to California in search for a better life. Will it be the land of milk and honey she expects, or will their experience challenge every ounce of strength they possess? An incredible journey of survival, hope, and what we do for those we love, set against America's Great Depression of the 1930s and the Dust Bowl. Considered to be the worst environmental disaster in American history, it's about strength and resilience of women, the value of female friendship, and the unbreakable bond between mother and daughter. This book was just gripping, just a gripping novel. It was fantastic. Absolutely love this one. And again, bought it so that I own it. I read it and I wanted it, so I bought it. Okay, the last Kristin Hannah book I picked up, and there's still one more I want to pick up that I read by her, and that is The Women. I didn't see it on sale, so I didn't buy it. I'll pick it up in the future. And I've read a couple other Kristin Hannah stories, but they haven't really grabbed me the way these books here have. This one here is still my all-time favorite by Kristen Hanna. And I tell everybody to read this, and everybody who has read it has said to me, oh my God, that was a good book. And this is the 10th anniversary edition. I got this from the book outlet, and it was cheap. That's The Nightingale. It's got the sprayed edges. Oh, so fancy. The beautiful picture on the inside. I just, yeah. Same thing with the back. So, yeah. Anyway, this book here, oh my God. So beautiful. Again, historical fiction. This is World War II France. We're following the lives of two women, sisters, and the village that they live in becomes occupied. And the Germans come in and they ravage their homes and take over their homes, and they eat all the food. This is a story of survival. One of the sisters is actually working for the French, what do they call them? Is it on the back of the book? Let me see. What do they call those people, like the French Rebellion? Is that what they were called? The French Rebellion? The French... Yeah. What's it called? The Resistance. That's it, The Resistance. Anyway, real quickly, with courage, grace, and powerful insight, best-selling author Kristen Hanna captures the epic panorama of World War II and illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the Women's War. The Nightingale tells the story of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. This book, if you have not read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, do yourself a favor and read this book. It is just beautiful. It is this story just, it sold me on Kristen Hanna. It did. It was just, it's incredible. I can't say enough about it. Probably the best book I read last year. Okay, this one here is a new book. This was just released. This is A Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. Why did I buy this? I don't know. I got an email from Barnes & Noble. Making the announcement of the pre-order on this, and it's going to be like the book of the year, blah blah blah. And again, it's kind of historical, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab it. It's the book club exclusive edition from Barnes & Noble. I'm probably going to start this book tomorrow. It's kind of a long book. It is 448 pages, but I think I'm going to give this one a whirl as my physical book for this month. And like I said, I think I'm going to start it tomorrow. I want to read what it's about. Let's see. Okay. Okay. In Bonhomie, Ohio, a stolen moment of passion sparked an exuberant aftermath of the Allied victory in Europe. Binds Cal Jenkins, a man wounded not by war but by his inability to serve in it, to Margaret Salt, a woman trying to obscure her past. Cal's wife, Becky, has a spiritual gift. She is a seer who can conjure the dead, helping families connect with those they've lost. Margaret's husband, Felix, is serving on a Navy cargo ship out of harm's way until a telegram suggests that the unthinkable might have happened. Later, as the country reconstructs in the post-war boom, a secret grows in Bonhomie. But nothing stays buried forever in a small town. Against the backdrop of some of the most transformative decades in modern America, the consequences of that long ago encounter ripple through the next generation of both families, compelling them to re-examine who they thought they were and what the future might hold. Sweeping yet intimate, rich with piercing observation and the warmth that comes from profound understanding of the human spirit, Buckeye captures the universal longing for love and for goodness. So this just sounded like a book that I was going to enjoy. So I do enjoy a good, just a contemporary novel, just a literary fiction. And yeah, so I think I'm going to start this one tomorrow. And that's Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. Okay. Next up, this book, absolutely loved this book. So I picked it up. The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hill by Robert Dugoni. This book was, from what I remember, beautifully written. Just a beautifully written book. It was a book about a boy, and he's born with red eyes. And he was different, and he was bullied and teased for it. And his mother always said, you were, a gift from God to have an extraordinary life. You're going to have an extraordinary life. And he develops friendships along the way. It's a heartwarming story. How his, I don't want to call it a disability, his physical visual, just like from seeing him, he's got because he looks different, how it shaped him and molded him and changed the course of his life. This book was beautiful book, well written. If you haven't read this book, check it out. If you like literary fiction, it's just so good. Such a beautiful, beautiful book. Extraordinary Life of Sam Hill. I think his real name was Kel, but they used to call him Hellboy. And let me see, Sam Hill. Okay, so here, I'll read you the synopsis. Sam Hill always saw the world through different eyes. Born with red pupils, he was called Devil Boy by his classmates. God's will is what his mother called his ocular albinism. Her words were of little comfort, but Sam persevered, buoyed by his mother's devout faith, his father's practical wisdom, and his two other misfit friends. Sam believed it was God who sent Ernie Cantwell, the only African-American kid in his class, to be the friend he so desperately needed, and that it was God's idea for Mickey Kennedy to storm into Our Lady of Mercy like a tornado, uprooting every rule Sam had been taught about boys and girls. 40 years later, Sam, a small-town eye doctor, is no longer certain anything was by design, especially not the tragedy that caused him to turn his back on his friends, his hometown, and the life he had always known. Running from the pain, eyes closed, served little purpose. Now, as he looks back on his life, Sam embarks on a journey that will take him halfway around the world. This time, his eyes are wide open, bringing into clear view what changed him, defined him, and made him so afraid until he could finally see what truly matters. You guys, this, like I said, beautiful book. Again, I'm so sorry, but my allergies are just a mess. My nose is so itchy, it's not even funny. Okay. My brother suggested I read this book, and I did. And it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. It's not going to be a book for everybody, but it was. This was a very good book. Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Not a small book. All right. Um, I'm just trying to find. Okay, this starts here. Follett risks all that comes out a clear winner. Extolled Publisher Weekly on the release of The Pillars of the Earth, a departure for the best-selling thriller writer because he wrote Eye of the Needle. He used to be like real spy novels. Kind of want to read Eye of the Needle. Anyway, good writer. Um, the historical epic stunned readers and critics alike with its ambitious scope and gripping humanity. Today, it stands as a testament to Follett's unassailable command of the written word and to his universal appeal. Pillars of the Earth tells the story of Philip, prior of Kingsbridge, a devout and resourceful monk driven to build the greatest Gothic cathedral the world has known. Of Tom, the mason who becomes his architect, a man divided in his soul. Of the beautiful, elusive Lady Elena, haunted by a secret shame, and of a struggle between good and evil that will turn church against state and brother against brother. A spellbinding tale of ambition, anarchy, and absolute power, set against the sprawling medieval canvas of the 12th century England. This is Ken Follett's historical masterpiece, and it was a masterpiece. This book was phenomenal. It was just beautifully written. Great book. I believe there's other books that followed this. Yeah, the Kingsbridge novels. So we've got Pillars of the Earth, A World Without End, and A Column of Fire. So yeah, fantastic. That's all I'm going to say. But you got to be in the right mindset to read that. This one here, I had to pick it up because I love this book. Tender as the Flesh. I did. I really enjoyed this book. Sicko, right? This is a book about, I don't want to use cannibalism, kind of, sort of. This is like a post-apocalyptic type book where they could no longer eat animals because animals carried this disease and all the animals were eradicated. And so they were forced to eat humans. And the humans are actually farmed. They're not like, people like you and I, they go out and just grab people and eat them. Not like Jeffrey Dahmer. They actually raise them and farm them. So it's very graphic. It's very reminiscent of, my God. Oh, that movie, Soylent Green. So yeah, I liked it, but sometimes I like weird, and this was weird. It was very dark, extremely dark. So I enjoyed it. If you like dark and weird, this was good. Good story. Not a long book. This is 209 pages. This is an easy day read. So yeah, check it out. Then this also came to my email from Barnes and Noble announcing a pre-order on this book here. And I thought, oh, I'm going to grab that because this is a classic and it is unbelievable. It's probably one of the best books I've ever read. And that is The Count of Monte Cristo. It is a special edition with a cloth cover, sprayed edges, and the pages in this book are divine. They're silky and very thin pages, kind of like the Bible. This book is beautiful. Isn't it pretty? That's The Count of Monte Cristo. I don't know if who's read this. I know Martha has read it. This book is the ultimate story of revenge. I mean, this spans a man's life of like 20 years, I think, plotting and planning and working the whole revenge scene out. It was a masterpiece. I mean, it is so good. Trying to see if there is a synopsis in here. So it's by Alexandre Dumas. Look, it's even got a table of contents. It's yeah. Well, all it says in here for a synopsis is Edmond Dantes is wrongly imprisoned on the grim island fortress of Chateau d'If. There he learns of treasure hidden on the Isle of Monte Cristo and becomes determined not only to escape, but to unearth the treasure and seek revenge against men responsible for his incarceration. So basically, as a young man, he was imprisoned, and that's the story. He plans his escape, become rich, and work out in the ultimate revenge plan against the people who have wronged him. And it's fascinating. This is a good book. If you've got some time on your hands, I mean, it is 1,367 pages. So this is a book to be savored, okay? Take it a few chapters at a time, enjoy it, absorb it. The writing is beautiful, and the whole plot, and this is a good one. Okay. Next up. I Am the Messenger by Markus Zusak. He also wrote The Book Thief. I don't know if anybody's ever read that. I read The Book Thief many years ago. Well, not many, probably about 6 years ago I read it. It was just an engaging story, as is this, I Am the Messenger. This is a story about a man. He's kind of like a nobody, but he's a nice guy. He's a great guy, but it's going nowhere. His life's going nowhere, and he's a cab driver. And one day he stops a bank robber in the bank, and his whole life has changed after that. And it's a good story. Kind of like Sam Hell. It's just a really good story, It's just, let me see, I'll read you the synopsis on this one. If I could find it. Okay, Ed Kennedy is an underage cab driver without much of a future. He's pathetic at playing cards, hopelessly in love with his best friend, and utterly devoted to his coffee-drinking dog, the doorman. His life is one peaceful routine and incompetence until he inadvertently stops a bank robbery. That's when the first ace arrives in the mail. That's when Ed becomes the messenger. So it's a lighthearted book. There's some humor in it. Yeah. It's just a good story. It's engaging, it's fun, it's light, it doesn't leave you exhausted or, some books kind of drain you. It's just a good story. And I highly suggest it. I Am the Messenger by Markus Zusak. Okay, these next set of books here, right here. This is all one author. And, oh, no, wait, I gotta pull one out. That's not the same author here. Okay, just one. So we're going to talk about this one first. And that is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. You guys, this book blew me away. The whole book, you're reading this, and you get to the end, and you're like, what the F just happened here? Like, you just, yeah. And you'll never, you through the whole book, you can never guess the ending of this book. I challenge anybody to say they had it figured out. I absolutely loved this book so much. It was just so good that I actually went out, bought, and read. It's over there. We Live Here Now. Phenomenal. I will be following this author and checking out other things that she writes. Because not only did I love this, I also loved her latest book, We Live Here Now. That was great too. Entirely different books, stories. This was so good. So, Behind Her Eyes, I'll read you the synopsis. Louise, a single mom and secretary, is deeply embarrassed when she discovers that the man who sweet talked and kissed her in the bar on a rare night out is her new boss, David. And Adele, new to town, lonely, who invited Louise for coffee after. After they bumped into each other on the street. Adele is David's wife. From the outside, David and Adele look like a picture-perfect husband and wife. But then why is David so controlling? And why is Adele so scared? As Louise is drawn further into David and Adele's orbit, she uncovers more puzzling questions. The only thing that is crystal clear is that something in this marriage is very, very wrong. But Louise can't guess how wrong or how far a person might go to protect their marriage's secrets. If you're a thriller reader and psychological thrillers, don't miss out on this one. This one is so good. In fact, I didn't even know about this book. Melissa Johnson Haight told me about this book. And because she said her daughter was like, over the moon about it. And I thought, all right, I'll try it. Oh, so glad I did. Try that one. Okay, so these books here, these are all from the same author. Fell in love with her from the first book I read, and I have gone on since, and I have read all her books, and anxiously awaiting the next one. Alice Feeney. This one here, Sometimes I Lie. Fantastic. She's in a coma. She hears people in the room. The whole story's told from her through her thoughts while she's in a coma and the things going on around her. Great book. Alice Feeney is like a master with twists and turns. Absolutely love her. This one was no exception. Rock, paper, scissors. Amazing. This was fantastic. Couple, their marriage isn't doing so great, and they take a little holiday into the Scottish Highlands. I believe was the Scottish Highlands. Yes, Scottish Highlands, in a really remote location. But things start to get really creepy. So it was very atmospheric and spooky, and yeah, again, twisty. She's a very twisty writer, and that's why I like reading her. Rock, paper, scissors, excellent book. Then, in fact, I think I just read this one. No, I just read this one. I kind of just read. I think I read it last month. His and Hers. Another good one. What was this one about? Oh, why can't I remember? It was a good book. Twisty, very twisty. All right, let's go. This is 3 words to describe my wife. Beautiful, ambitious, unforgiving. I only need 1 word to describe my husband. Liar. When a woman is murdered in Blacktown Village, newsreader Anna Andrews is reluctant to cover the case. Anna's ex-husband, DCI Jack Harper, is suspicious of her involvement until he becomes a suspect in his own murder investigation. Someone is lying, and some secrets are worth killing to keep. That's right. This is the one. I listened to this on audio. And is this it? Wait. Trying to see. Okay. So this started out because there's three people talking in the story. Jack tells the story, some of the story. Anna Andrews tells some of the story. And then there's this unknown person telling a story, which is obviously the person who is like the killer. We'll say that. But you don't know who the killer is. Is it Andrew? Is it Laura? Is it her husband? Is it somebody else? And then this person, but their voice narrated in the story is like garbled a little bit. So I thought, I can't listen to this. Then I realized it was kind of like a voice disguise thing because I don't want you to know who this person is. But anyway, this was good. Lots of secrets and twists, and people are dying all over the place, and Anna and Jack are right in the middle of all of it. Good. This one I just finished reading, and that is I Know Who You Are. I enjoyed this book. This is probably, out of all the books I've read by Alice Feeney, this is my least favorite. It was okay. Meet Amy Sinclair, the actress everyone thinks they know but can't remember from where, except one person. Someone knows Amy very well. They know who she is and they know what she did. When Amy comes home and discovers her husband is missing, she doesn't seem to know what to do or how to act. The police think she's hiding something, and they're right, she is, but perhaps not what they thought. Amy has a secret she's never shared, and yet she suspects that someone knows. As she struggles to keep her career and sanity intact, her past comes back to haunt her in ways more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. Again, this is another UK book. Yeah, because the cover's different. So, anyway, it's fine. I don't really care. This was my least favorite, and I've already reviewed it, and that will be in my upcoming September reads which will be in October. So yeah, I Know Who You Are. It's okay. Next one, Good Bad Girl. This is another one that was really good, really twisty. They're all twisty. She's just a twisty writer. Okay, 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is murdered in a care home. The two crimes are somehow linked, and a good bad girl may be the key to discovering the truth. 4 women must solve a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murderers, and 1 victim. If they do, they might just find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the secret that connects them all. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, but this one was a tough one to follow. It starts out where, the book, the baby's stolen. Then it goes to a housekeeper, a cleaning person in a nursing home, and an older woman, and all these. There's these 3 women, and it gets a little confusing. But overall, it was a great book, very twisty, on how these lives connect, and where's this missing baby, and who's the missing baby. So yeah, it was a good book. Daisy Darker. I absolutely love Daisy Darker. This has a very Agatha Christie vibe to it, like And Then There Were None. Basically, these people all go to an island. I know, is that in Scotland too? Uh, anyway, it I think it's in Scotland. I can't remember. It's not here. So pretty much these people all get invited to their grandmother's 80th birthday party celebration. It's on an island that the grandmother's Gothic home is on. And once you get to the island at certain time, the tide comes in and you can't get out like you for the whole night. So once you're there, you're stuck there till the next day. And they're all family and they're all there for grandma's reunion or birthday party. And we've got the grandchildren, the daughter, the are they ex-husband? I don't know, the daughter, I don't remember, the father's there, and caretaker also shows up. Well, shortly after midnight, grandma's murdered. And there's a mysterious note. And everybody's getting, just, it was very Clue-like. I felt like I was, playing the game of Clue. It felt like Agatha Christie. And then there were none because then one by one, people were going missing. This was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This would have to be one of my favorites of hers. Yeah, I'm going to say this is probably my most favorite. I really like this one. This one was good. Very twisty, very Agatha Christie vibes, and the game of Clue. It was good. And then this was her most recent, and that is Beautiful Ugly. Again, this was a good book. I'm trying to think that I think all her books are in Scotland. Are they all in Scotland? Just reading. Yes, another Scottish island. So I think she writes mostly based out of like Scotland. Okay. So the character in here, what's his name? I forgot his name. Grady Green. He's an author or an aspiring author. And he's in the process of he's written a novel and he's waiting to see if his novel is going to be published. And one night he's on the phone with his wife. She's late coming home and he's upset. Where are you? Blah, blah, blah. And they're on the phone. He's like, I want you to be here when I get the call. I'm just picking up dinner. I'm on my way. And then he hears her slam on the brakes. And he's like, what's the matter? What happened? Somebody's in the road. Somebody's laying down on the road. Don't get out of the car. He tells her, don't get out. But she knows she's going to get out and she's going to go check. And she's like, I'll be right back. She puts the phone down and she goes to check. And she never gets back on the phone. And lo and behold, the wife has disappeared and they don't know if she's dead or alive. And then he ends up through his publisher. She sends him because the book gets published and he's supposed to do a follow-up, but he's so devastated over the loss of his wife that he's having writer's block, and he goes off to this Scottish island and everything is very, very weird there. Super weird, super spooky, very atmospheric. Yeah. Beautiful Ugly. Good book. So I've read all of her books now. All right. This last tower here of books. These here are all, I can't pick them up. I can't pick it up. Stephen King. Most of the books I have read. There is a few that I have not, that I bought from the book outlet because they were cheap. And then there's a collection that I bought. Some of them are collections because it was cheaper to buy the collections than to buy the individual books. Okay. First one up. Again, this is from the book outlet. Firestarter. Have not read it. It's on my list. I'm going to read it. Because if you know, you know. I've been a Stephen King fan for a while. I enjoy his writing immensely. I like how he can, what happened to our light? I like how he can bring characters to life. The place where these stories taking place becomes real, and you become totally immersed in the story as if you are actually a character in there, walking alongside these people. That's what I love about his writing. What I do not like about Stephen King is his politics. I wish he'd keep his mouth shut, and I wish he'd keep politics out of his books. Not politics, his political opinion out of his books. Um, I don't care to know your political opinion. It's none of my business. Just like my political opinions is none of anybody else's business either. So I have issue with that. And lately there has been a bit of controversy with Stephen King in light of certain events that happened that I'm trying to put out of my mind. So there you have that. Anyway, again, to tell you my story, I'm on my quest to read all of Stephen King's novels, doing one book a month, sometimes two if I strikes my fancy. And I want to own all the books. I think I said that. Yeah, I want to own all the books that I read. So some of these books I have not read, such as Firestarter has not been read yet. I may read the book, or I may buy it on Audible. Not Audible. I'll get it for free through Libby or Hoopla. If they have it. But like I said, Book Outlet had it. I picked it up. I didn't pick up all the books they had because some of them were like pocket books, like they weren't full-size paperbacks. I don't want those small books. I want, you know. Anyway, Pet Sematary. I have read this one. I loved it. It was fantastic. Creepy. Very creepy book. Disturbing. Stephen King is a very disturbing mind, so the book is very disturbing. Holly, I have read this one. I read this one again. This was the Book Outlet. See, I took the sticker off. I couldn't even get all the thing off. I don't know. But again, it's got a price in here of $30. I want to say I paid like, I don't even know, maybe $8 for this. Love the character of Holly. She started out in the Mr. Mercedes series, and the fans loved the character of Holly so much that she had her own series. And I read this, I don't know when I read this, last year sometime. Now I'm a little upset about this. There is a book collection out there. They call it the Rainbow Collection. It's the book covers are designed like very retro, and they're all like colors. And when you put them all together, you can put them together in the color of the rainbow. However, they are not readily available in the United States, but you can get them from a bookstore or a website called Blackwell's, and it's out of England. And they don't charge shipping, but the prices of these books are just, they're a few dollars more per book. And for the amount of books Stephen King has, it would cost quite a bit of money to complete the collection in this Rainbow series books. So apparently some of these books on Amazon are, but not all of them, are this special series. So I ended up sending me some, and now I'm like disappointed because I'm like, oh, why did you do that? Because I technically didn't want these book covers because it makes me want the whole collection in this style. So yeah. So I'm going to show you the style of the books. One second. I gotta flip this over. So the spines, and this is, I got Let me grab the other one too. 1 second. Oh no, that's not one. Am I missing a book? I thought I had 3. Oh, I do. Okay. Here's the style of the books. And like I said, I had toyed with the idea of only purchasing these books, but then I was doing the math. I'm like, no, it's going to cost me a fortune to buy all these books. But there's the style. I love it. It's very cool because everything is very, all the same. So anyway, we've got 11/22/63. This was a great book. Again, little history in there, not too much. The John Kennedy assassination, little time travel. Again, beautiful characters in this book. Absolutely love this. So basically, the main character in the book, he goes back in time because to try to stop the assassination of President Kennedy. Good book. Okay. Then it was a collection of 3 books, and this was one of the books in there. I don't know if I'll ever read this. Stephen King on Writing, a memoir of the craft. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe if I one day, get a wild hair up my butt, I may pick it up and read it. I don't know. But again, it was cheaper to buy. It came with 11/22/63 and this book here, The Stand. This here is, as of now, my all-time favorite Stephen King novel. I love this book. This is a book I would read again. The characters in here, so many of them, you just fall in love with them. And oh God, this is a good book. I urge so many people to read this book, and so many people are like, oh no, it's too long, it's too this, it's too that. You're missing out. This book is epic. It's an epic book. It is fan-freaking-tastic, and it's by far right now my favorite. Just finished this one. It by Stephen King. I almost gave up on it. It's a long one. I did do this on audio. What can I say about it? The ending was very disappointing and weird. So weird. The book was just okay. It was too much. Again, I appreciate that character building that Stephen King does, but this was overdone. This was overkill with his descriptions, and for me, it was too much. It was like, what are we talking about here? Anyway, I read it, and I own it. Insomnia. Now, this book, I read, holy moly, 20 years ago, maybe? When was this book published? So it's 2025 right now. I'm trying to think. You know what? It has to be longer because I read this book before my first daughter was born. And she's 37. Copyright 1994, but no, that can't be. I don't know when this book was originally published, when it was first published. Or was my daughter born? Maybe she was. It was a long time ago. Okay? We'll just put it that way. Wait a minute. Okay, it's a Hollywood's New York Times bestseller. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to research that. Um, I enjoyed this book. I remember liking this book when I read it. I remember thinking, wow, this is weird. So basically, the main character in here, I believe his name is Ralph. Was that his name? Ralph Roberts. Okay. So he loses his wife and he can't sleep. And pretty soon, delirium and all these things are setting in. And he starts seeing weird things. Again, my memory is very vague on this because it was many, many years ago. And we're going to say at least 30, okay? Um, and he used to see people walking around with like a string attached to their head with a balloon. And there were these little men, he called them the doctors. And so basically it was an indication of their life. And when their life was over, they would cut the balloon. But he would see all these things. It was a bizarre book. I remember the book being very bizarre, but it held my interest. Let's see what it says on the back of the book. Ralph Roberts never expected to live out his remaining golden years mourning the death of his beloved wife. He also never expected to begin suffering from chronic insomnia for the first time in his life. Each night he wakes up a little bit early until he's barely sleeping at all. During his overnight walks, he is now observing some strange things going on here in Derry, Maine, and they are more than sleep deprived hallucinations. There's definitely a mean streak that's always been running through his small New England city underneath its ordinary surface. Awesome and terrifying forces are at work. The dying has been going on in Derry for a long, long time, and Ralph Roberts will soon find that lack of sleep is the least of his worries. Basically, this has a tie-in to the book It. Okay? Because this is also set in Derry, Maine, and how weird things happen in Derry, and it's like, just crazy. But yeah, this was a good book. I enjoyed this. I do remember enjoying it back from way back when. Christine. Again, I bought this from the book outlet because it was cheap. I think I only paid, oh my God, my nose. I'm sorry, my allergies are so bad and my nose is doing nothing but itching and itching. So I picked it up because I plan on reading it, and you never know, maybe I will physically read the book instead of listening to it. But if the book outlet has the books, grab them because they're just like random books, like they're overstock. So it's like you may never see that book again offered through. So I thought, let me grab what they have as far as Stephen King goes. Wait a minute. Oh, I have a whole nother pile of books over there. Holy moly, I forgot. Because I'm like, wait, where's the other books that go with this? Oh, this is so long. Look, we're already an hour in. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about the books so much. I got Stephen King, Fairy Tale. I read this when this came out. This was good. This is like a fantasy-based book. Yeah, enjoyed this very much. The young man, it's like a portal through this shed, and it leads to this whole other underground fairy world. And it was a good book. Then this was a collection. The Shining, Salem's Lot, and Carrie. I read both Carrie and The Shining. I don't know if I'll ever read Salem's Lot because I'm afraid of vampires. So this was a box set on Amazon, and it was cheaper to buy the box set than it was to buy these two books here individually. So that's what I did. We'll see. Maybe Salem's Lot will be the very last book I read by Stephen King. We'll see. All right, I'm going to pause you because I'm going to get those other books because this book is actually part of another set. Hold on. Crazy. I don't know how I missed those books sitting up there. Anyway, so actually, how many books do I have? 31. 39 books. I thought it was 31. Okay. This next set here is a trilogy, and it's the Mercedes, Mr. Mercedes. Mr. Mercedes, I loved the first book, Mr. Mercedes. The second book is Finders Keepers, and the last book is End of Watch. Finders Keepers was just so-so. It was kind of like a filler. Yeah. So, Mr. Mercedes, it starts out, crazy nut job, Brady Hartfield. Is it Hartfield? Is that his name, Hartfield? I know his name's Brady. I know I said I wasn't going to do this. Brady Hartfield. He's cuckoo. This guy's crazy. One thing about Stephen King, he writes some crazy psychopathic characters. Really good. He gets you in their heads and ooh. Anyway, he mows down a bunch of people at a job fair in a Mercedes. And they call him the Mercedes Killer. And Bill Hodges was the detective the police detective, and he retired, and he never solved the case. And Brady Hartsfield kind of comes to life and starts prodding and poking at Bill Hodges. Love the character of Bill Hodges. This is where Holly is introduced in Mr. Mercedes. Carries on. They open up a detective agency called Finders Keepers. Not really related to Mr. Mercedes per se. And then End of Watch to wrap up the series. We go back to Brady Hartsfield, who was since from book 1 was committed to a crazy person psych ward facility, high security, all that crap. And he's back. I like the trilogy. I thought it was excellent. And then from there, we've got The Outsider. The Outsider is Holly's book. This is where, after End of Watch, Stephen King continues on with the character of Holly in The Outsider. And I believe her detective agency is still in there, Finders Keeper. I'm pretty sure it is. Can't remember. I read this. When did I read this? 2 years ago? I think I read this 2 years ago. It was good. Good book. If you like Holly, I like Holly. And then after The Outsider, we move on to the book Holly. And then his most recent was Never Flinch, which again is also a book that's based on the character Holly. This one here, The Outsider, creepy book. This is a super creepy book. I enjoyed that one. Spooky, creepy, it was good. This one here, Never Flinch, I don't know. It was okay. I wasn't a huge fan. Again, I felt like he was pushing his political views a little bit. And yeah, I don't like that. So, Never Flinch. This is his most recent novel that was released. And I read this, I did the pre-order for this on Audible and listened to it right away when it was released. This one here, this was a great story, The Long Walk. Really enjoyed this one. It's not too long. This is kind of like a dystopian. These kids, it's like I think The Hunger Games, I guess. I mean, I never read The Hunger Games, but I'm thinking like boys, they would sign up to this for this long walk, and it's basically whoever gets to the end without getting killed gets the prize. So this is a dystopian near future. America has fallen on hard times. 16-year-old Ray Garrity is about to compete in the annual grueling match of stamina and wits known as the Long Walk. 100 boys must keep a steady pace of 4 miles per hour, day and night, without ever stopping. The winner gets awarded the prize, anything he wants for the rest of his life. But the rules of the long walk are harsh, and the stakes could not be higher. There is no finish line. The winner is the last man standing. Contestants cannot receive any outside aid whatsoever. Slow down under the speed limit, and you're given a warning. 3 warnings, and you're out of the game forever. So, this was a bit dark, in a sense. It's, again, characters. You know, we have these characters that Stephen King is writing about, and their conversations that are taking place on this walk, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, their flaws. That I enjoyed The Long Walk. I thought this was really good. In fact, where did I read this one? I read this about me. I might have read this almost 2 years ago too. They're making this a movie, so keep your eye out for that. I will probably go see the movie because that'll be a good movie. I want to see that. Had to pick up The Green Mile just because, and it's funny, and I wish I had them, but I don't. I read The Green Mile before it was a full-length novel. The Green Mile was released in a series of small books, and each book kind of made up the full story. So I'm trying to think. There's one about Mr. Jingles, the mouse. I don't remember which book, but I wish I had these books. And you had to wait. You had to wait for the next book to come out. It wasn't like a year or anything, but you still had to wait for it. So they were released in increments. And it was fun. It was fun to read it like that. But I'm glad I have the book because I would actually like to read this book in its entirety instead of the way I originally read it. I probably won't do that for some time though because it's still so fresh between the movie and the story itself. I could still remember a lot of actually reading the pages. That's what Stephen King does. You get images burned into your head when you read his books. Green Mile, this is an excellent, excellent story. It's a beautiful story. That's beautiful. Okay, let's talk about this one. This isn't for everybody, but this book was fascinating. Nuclear War, A Scenario by Annie Jacobsen. Now, I did talk about this in my book reviews. This is like a fiction, nonfiction book. I highly suggest this book on Audible because it reads like a fast-paced doomsday thriller. However, there's history involved in here. There's educational things in here. For instance, the president only has, is it 5 minutes and so many seconds to make the decision. If we were notified that North Korea launched nuclear warheads and they're heading for the United States, the president of the United States, and he's the only one that can make the decision, is it 5 minutes? Does it say on here? I don't know. I'm just going to say 5 minutes and X amount of seconds to make the decision if we're going to strike back. And this book reads like a clock, like a countdown, minute by minute by minute, and everything that's happening, going on, what's next, this is going. This book was fascinating, and it will keep you up at night. This is actually a horror novel. because it's horrifying. It's horrifying because it's true. I want somebody to read this book so badly so I could talk to them about it. It was so good. I mean, good. This might be my book of the year. It's good. I can't tell you enough, but I highly suggest you listen to it. Do the audio version of this book, and then you could read it. I may read this. The audio version was just, like I said, it's pulse pounding. It's like intense. It's intense. This book is so good. Okay. Then last but not least, In an Instant by Suzanne Redfern. Amy. I don't remember your last name, Amy. Well, I think I do, but I don't really want to say it anyway, because, anyway. Viewer told me to read this book. Okay. And it happened to be on sale on Audible. It was $1.52. And I thought, well, sure. For $1.52, right? I could. You guys, this book wrecked me. This book was so beautiful, intense, heartbreaking, enlightening. This book blew me away. I can't say enough things about this. This book was about love, friendship, deceit, grief, how grief changes your life, how it was phenomenal. I urge everybody to read this book. I don't think there's anybody out there who wouldn't like this book. I really don't. It was just that freaking good. I'm going to read you the synopsis. You can go back. I think this was in my July. I think this was in my July reading. So if you go back to my July, what's Chris been reading? July edition, pretty sure it was in there. Was it? Yes, it was. It was in July. So, oh my God. I'm going to read you the synopsis, but you know what? The synopsis doesn't do anything for this book. Okay. Life is over in an instant for 16-year-old Finn Miller when a devastating car accident tumbles her and 10 others over the side of a mountain. Suspended between worlds, she watches helplessly as those she loves struggle to survive. Impossible choices are made, decisions that leave the survivors tormented with grief and regret. Unable to let go, Finn keeps vigil as they struggle to reclaim their shattered lives. Jack, her father, who seeks vengeance against the one person he can blame other than himself. Her best friend, Mo, who bravely searches for the truth as the story of their survival is written. Her sister, Chloe, who knows Finn lingers and yearns to join her. And her mother, Anne, who saved them all but is haunted by her decisions. Finn needs to move on, but how can she with her family still in pieces? Heart-rending, yet ultimately redemptive. In an Instant is a story about the power of love, the meaning of family, and carrying on even when it seems impossible. If I could reach people through YouTube to read any book, knowing that they would absolutely love it. I mean, I know I just talked about nuclear war, but that's not for everybody, okay? Read this book. Read this book. It just beautifully written. So much meaning, thought-provoking, and that's all I'm going to say. In an Instant by Susan Redfern. The end of the year, I feel as the way things are going right now with my reading, and like I've just, in my journal, and I was looking at my monthlies, my monthly favorites. I got a feeling at the end of the year these two are going to go head to head, and I'm going to have to figure out. I'm going to have to decide which. I don't know if I can, but really, do yourself a favor and read this book. It's beautiful. It's just, oh my God. All right, guys. That's it. I know it was a long one, but hey, I had 39 books here. So now I feel like I shorted myself one. I like even numbers, I should have bought 40. But that was my ginormous book haul. Going forward, I'll probably only buy a few books at a time. I don't know. I was just, I don't know. I was like, I'm going to buy some books. And I couldn't stop. Once I was adding them to the cart, I'm like, oh, I gotta have it, gotta have it. So I wanted all my Stephen King books, and yeah. Anyway. All right, you guys. That's all I got. I think that's enough. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the time you take out of your day, your lives, your busy schedule when you watch a video I've uploaded. It means the world to me. Please comment, like, and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. And you all have a great day, great week, great night, weekend, whenever you happen to be watching. And we will chat again real soon. Bye.